Hello learners, in this program I will discuss about igneous textures, processes and pathways, fabric related to crystallization path. This program is divided into two parts. First part covering textures where the grain size is homogeneous. In the second part of this program, I will discuss about the textures where the grain size is inhomogeneous. So, learners, first I will discuss textures where the grain size is homogeneous. Fabric related to crystallization path is subdivided into three major subdivisions. First subdivision is under near equilibrium conditions. When the melt is crystallized under near equilibrium conditions, the rate of cooling is slow. As a result, euhedral crystals are developed. Euhedral crystals with well developed crystal faces, they are developed. As a result, idiomorphic texture is formed in rocks. Second subdivision is faster rate of cooling, where skeletal, dendritic, feathery or sphaeritic textures are developed. Third subdivision is fragmentation and partial dissolution of grains into melt. As a result, epidiomorphic texture, granular mixture of euhedral, subhedral and anhedral grains, all three types of grains they are formed as a result of fragmentation and partial dissolution of grains. Best example is apletic texture. Apletic grains are equant grains. Equant means they are equal size grains, anhedral to subhedral in shape. Another category is xenomorphic texture, where anhedral grains partly bounded by crystal faces, other crystal faces are not very well developed. So, partly developed, partly undeveloped crystal faces are present. Now, I will discuss about shape of the crystals. Penidiomorphic texture. What is penidiomorphic texture? In this case, most of the grains are euhedral. Euhedral means all the crystal faces are very well developed, but this kind of texture is rare in igneous rocks. Second type is epidiomorphic texture. It consists of predominantly of subhedral grains common in granitic rocks. This kind of texture is commonly found in granitic rocks, and granitic rocks are also very common. Third type is allotriomorphic texture. Most of the grains are anhedral, and these anhedral grains they are distributed throughout the slide. As a result, allotriomorphic texture is formed. Form of the individual grain is very important, and I will discuss separately as a crystal habit. What is crystal habit? Crystal habit may be of different kinds. The crystals may be equant. Equant means they are equally developed all along 3 axes A, B, C, all along the 3 axes they are equally developed. Prismatic, columnar, acicular, fibrous, tabular, platy, micaceous, lathe shaped. These are the common crystal habits, they are commonly associated with igneous rocks. Second category is corroded or embedded crystals. Subhedral or anhedral forms produced by partial melting as a result of reabsorption of phenocryst by the melt. When the early formed crystals are reabsorbed by the melt, as a result embayed or corroded margins are developed. I am citing one example of a phonolite. Phonolite is a igneous rock. It is a lava flow, and this lava flow contains euhedral. See, these grains are euhedral. All the sides of this grain is very well developed, crystal faces are very well developed. It contains nepheline along with anhedral alkali feldspar, pyroxene and amphibole grains. Viewers, because of this some limitations, you may not be able to see polarization colors properly, but these are the nepheline, pyroxene, amphibole grains. I am citing another example of a minate. Minate is a mica bearing rock, mica bearing lamprophire rock. Lamprophire is a variety of igneous rock, and I am showing you how it looks under the microscope. This is my own hand drawn picture here. It contains euhedral crystals. These are all euhedral crystals of mafic minerals. This is a biotite euhedral crystal, display panidiomorphic or idiomorphic texture. Euhedral biotite having gaps at their ends. These are the ends of the biotite, and these ends it shows gaps. Such crystals are called battlemented crystals. This is a very characteristic feature of mica bearing lamprophire. Now, I am citing another example of leucitite. Leucitite is a rock. Leucitite, it basically contains euhedral large leucite crystal. This is a large leucite crystal. Leucite is an isotropic mineral and it shows complex twinning. As a result of complex twinning, it shows gray stripes here, but originally as a nature leucite under polarized light cross nickel condition, it is isotropic, perfectly black. Here see my pointer here, it is completely black, but because of complex twinning it shows grayish color. Here lamellar twinning. Pyroxene crystals are also twinned. Here this pyroxene crystal is also twinned, but as a because of limitations I am not able to show you the twinned crystal of pyroxene, but I am able to show the twinned crystal of leucite. So, this rock is leucitite. It shows a very typical feature here. Now, leucitophire. Leucitophire is another igneous rock. Here again I am showing you a hand drawn picture. In this picture I am trying to show you here the isotropic grain of leucite, and this isotropic leucite, it contains symmetrical inclusions of agate. These colorful green color agate crystals are embedded within the leucite, isotropic leucite crystals. Here euhedral to subhedral anhedral grains are present. All three types of grains such as anhedral, subhedral or euhedral grains are present, and leucite is present. Another example I am citing here is andesite. Andesite is a lava flow, and this lava flow, it contains euhedral to subhedral grains. Some of the grains see here, they are euhedral to subhedral. Some of the faces are very well developed, but some of the faces are not very well developed, and it contains hornblende, plagioclase, biotite. This biotite shows reaction rim. Reaction rim means a circular margin. See, the periphery of the biotite crystal is surrounded by agate. This reaction rim is formed because of the interaction of the biotite with the remaining melt. Here I am showing the plagioclase showing coalescent growth and penetration twinning. This plagioclase is penetrated into another crystal of plagioclase. So, this is an example of gabbro. Gabbro is also a basic igneous rock. This is plutonic rock, and it displays hipidiomorphic texture. Gabbro showing anhedral olivine. Olivine grains are anhedral in shape, showing anhedral olivine and plagioclase. The plagioclase grains, but the pyroxene is subhedral. This pyroxene crystal is subhedral in shape. Hipidiomorphic granular texture in gabbro. Euhedral magnetite. This is magnetite, well developed. All the four faces of the magnetite is very well developed here. Plagioclase and olivine interspersed among anhedral pyroxene and isotropic fabric. I am citing another example of hornblende phonolite. Phonolite also I have shown you, but this is slightly different. Hornblende phonolytic trachyte. Trachyte showing subhedral to anhedral grains. Some of the grains have developed very well crystal boundaries here. See, these faces are developed, but at the same time other crystal faces are anhedral in shape. Phonolytic trachyte is one of the best example of this kind of texture. I was several times repeating allotriomorphic texture and citing an example of aplite. Aplite is a hyperbasal rock. It is mostly found in the form of dikes. In this aplite, I am trying to show you aplite showing equigranular texture, equigranular allotriomorphic texture. See carefully, all the grain size is more or less equal in size, equivalent grains, and this rock chiefly composed of quartz, orthoclase, plagioclase. Tourmaline in picolytic relationship with plagioclase laths, and tourmaline is present in subordinate amount. Muscovite is also present in subordinate amount. Another example I am citing here is Schorl rock. Schorl rock is nothing but it is a tourmaline bearing granite. Here I am showing two types of tourmaline here in this rock. One is brown tourmaline, see my cursor carefully here, this is a brown tourmaline, and this brown tourmaline is surrounded by blue colored tourmaline, and rest of the mineral grains are quartz, sutured margins of quartz. Quartz margins are not regular, but they are curved irregular margins, sutured margins, and you have tourmaline, you have plagioclase. The other minerals are more or less similar to that found in the granite. Another rock I am citing here is dunite. Dunite is a plutonic rock, it is a monomineralic rock. It contains 95% of olivine. The olivine crystals are more or less anhedral in shape. Olivine later on altered into chloride and later on into muscovite. This rock also shows a very typical texture, which is hapidiomorphic texture in some places. Another rock which I am showing here is the adamelite. Adamelite contains orthoclase. See here carefully orthoclase, and this orthoclase along with plagioclase, quartz, biotite and sphene display equigranular hapidiomorphic texture. Grain size is more or less equigranular. All the grains of orthoclase, plagioclase, this is orthoclase actually, this is plagioclase and this is quartz. All the grains are more or less equal in size. Therefore, the texture is hapidiomorphic texture. Citing another example, pegmatite. Pegmatite is again a plutonic rock, it is a very coarse grained rock and it contains coarse grained anhedral crystals. These are coarse grained crystals, but the crystals are anhedral. Anhedral, again I am repeating, anhedral means the crystal faces are poorly developed. All the crystal faces of all the minerals are poorly developed and the rock contains orthoclase, rock contains plagioclase and it also contains corroded crystal boundaries. These are the corroded crystal boundaries. See carefully, this is a corroded crystal boundary directly in contact. This corroded crystal boundary of orthoclase is directly in contact with the plagioclase. These are the orthoclase crystals. Due to replacement of orthoclase in the form of streaks, these are the secondary minerals formed by replacement process. These minerals may be mica, muscovite, calcite it may be, or sometimes it may be ceresite or clay minerals. I am citing an example of granodiorite. Granodiorite and granite, they belong to the same group, but here they display different types of texture. Granodiorite contains anhedral quartz grains. All the grains, this is a quartz, see carefully, the quartz grains are anhedral. Not a single crystal face is well developed. So, the grain is anhedral in shape. Alkali feldspar, that too is also anhedral in shape. Plagioclase is anhedral in shape. Hornblende, this crystal is of hornblende crystal, is again anhedral in shape. So, this is another example. Gabbro chiefly composed of agate, plagioclase, iron oxide, and it displays at some places it shows graphic textures. These laths, they are interwoven and the space between these two laths is occupied by green colored agate. Another variety of gabbro is alkali gabbro. Alkali gabbro is slightly different mineralogically, but texturally also it is slightly different in the sense that it contains glomeroporphyritic texture. Glomeroporphyritic means so many phenocrystin, they are clubbed together, clustered together at one place. See my cursor carefully, these are the agate phenocryst they are clustered together at one place and giving rise to a glomeroporphyritic texture. Other minerals are biotite, plagioclase. This is plagioclase. See carefully, the plagioclase crystals, they are embedded within the large crystals of agite. So, therefore, it is glomeroporphyritic texture. Orthoclase is here, that is why we call it as alkali gabbro. If it does not contain orthoclase, we call it is simply as gabbro. Citing another example of alkali granite. Alkali granite contains anhedral grains of quartz microcline. You have never heard about microcline till now. Microcline shows cross hatch twinning here. At this place you can see some grains, they show cross hatch twin crystals very well, and alkali amphibole, this is alkali amphibole, and orthoclase, this is orthoclase. Therefore, the rock is alkali granite, as it contains anhedral grains of quartz, microcline and amphibole and orthoclase. Therefore, this rock is alkali granite. Simple granite, which is commonly present, it contains alkali feldspar, plagioclase, quartz and other mafic minerals of uniform grain size. The grain size, remember, the grain size is more or less uniform. Here this is quartz, you have certain amount of mafic minerals are also here present, they are present here, and feldspar, this is feldspar present here. Now, I am talking about a very interesting feature, feathery texture. This feathery texture is seen under the scanning electron microscope. See carefully, this is a feathery texture, it resembles feather of a bird. This is magnetite, grey color magnetite embedded within the melt, and the other minerals are ilmenite. This is ilmenite, light grey color mineral is magnetite. Feathery masses of magnetite, this is a feathery mass of magnetite. Ulvospinel, ulvospinel is also present here. Ilmenite and hematite minerals. Ilmenite is 1001 lamellae exhaled from magnetite. These are the ilmenite lamellis. Ilmenite lamellis 1001, 1 ilmenite, that is very interesting. These irregular projections of magnetite and ilmenite are due to unmixing. If you found this kind of feature in any unknown rock, you can easily predict that unmixing has taken place between unmixing of two minerals, ilmenite and magnetite, at the time of cooling of the rocks. So, this is very interesting texture which gives an idea about the processes. Learners, let us summarize what we have learnt under the category of homogeneous textures. The allotriomorphic textures, hapidiomorphic textures, panidiomorphic texture, feathery texture, all different varieties of textures we have studied under this homogeneous textures. Thank you very much.